Hello and welcome to Better Body Movement. We are here to help you move more functionally all day long. What that means is we need to fix the two actions that your muscles actually have. One is to contract and the other is to relax. So we have a program established to where all week long we will work through self-massage so you can begin to change those tight muscles and begin to relax or lengthen that tissue while simultaneously following through with a contraction sequence or creating exercise or movement that is dedicated to help you move well. And today's workout is going to be our leg day. So what you can expect is 4 rounds of 8 exercises. Each exercise will last about 45 seconds. You'll have 15 seconds to transition and then we will start back in. We do have instructions before each round, simple things for you to focus on or ways to make it more challenging or just change up those rounds. We asked to best help your hips, you must understand the deep muscles under the glutes that hold your hip socket in place. The piriformis connects to the anterior sacrum and sacral ligament to the greater trochanter of the femur. The obturator externus connects from the obturator foramen to the trochanteric fossa of the femur. The remaining deep muscles are the gemellus superior, obturator internus, gemellus inferior, and quadratus femoris. We're going to begin with a stretch of the piriformis. Start seated in a chair and place one foot on top of the opposite knee. To create the stretch, pull the hips forward as if pushing your belly button through the hole between your legs. In this stretch, press your foot down into the knee for 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Relax and pick up the slack for about 10 seconds. 8, 7. Again, you're relaxing the belly button through the knees. 4, 2, 1. Press the foot into the leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And pick up the slack, relaxing forward. 8, 7, 3, 2, 1. Repeat this process for a total of 10 contractions. Now, in the same figure 4 position, use a lacrosse ball to increase the intensity. Place it right at the head of the femur where the piriformis inserts. You may have to roll around a little bit to find the tender spot. Once you find it, repeat the 5-second contract and 10-second relax sequence for a total of 10 repetitions. Next, we're going to work the glute maximus. The glute muscle starts at the posterior sacrum, ilium, and posterior gluteal line of the ilium, all the way down the gluteal tuberosity of the femur, iliotibial tract attaching to the lateral condyle of the tibia. When the glutes are not working correctly, the attachments at the knee take the brunt of the pain. We're going to begin the work on the glutes by simply sitting on the foam roller and rolling back and forth. If you feel like you're not getting enough pressure, you can lean to one side, either with your arm on the ground or your arm on the foam roller. Remember to work the glutes with different leg positions. You can roll them in or let them drop out while you continue to roll back and forth over that tissue, looking for the most tender and sore spots. When you find one, sit and hold. After some deep breaths, move on. Continue to find the most tender spots on the left and right sides. If it feels like you didn't get enough pressure, move on to the lacrosse ball. Place the lacrosse ball under the glute muscle. Side note, to take some pressure off the wrists, simply use your foam roller as an armrest under your elbows. Begin rolling the ball around the glute muscle till you find a tender spot. Pause and breathe. Remember to take deep breaths through the diaphragm. Each time you breathe out, relax more into the lacrosse ball. Next, we're going to focus on the glute medius, minimus, and the tensor fascia lata. The glute medius connects from the iliac crest of the ilium between the posterior and anterior gluteal lines out to the greater trochanter of the femur. Beneath the gluteus medius is the gluteus minimus. This muscle begins from the ilium between the anterior and inferior gluteal lines to the anterior surface of the greater trochanter of the femur. These two muscles work together to steady the pelvis during ipsilateral training, or standing on one leg. The tensor fasciae latae begins from the iliac crest posterior to anterior superior iliac spine, all the way down to the iliotibial tract, which you can see is the lateral condyle of the tibia. Much like the glute max, when these muscles are not firing, the pressure goes directly into your knees. Laying on your back with a straight leg and your opposite knee bent, place the lacrosse ball next to your hip. Do not lift the hips to place the ball, simply relax on the floor, place the ball beside your hip, now roll over onto the ball. You may have to move the ball around a little bit to find the right spots, but ultimately you are looking for the pain to settle into the lacrosse ball. You may begin by rolling the knee in and out or pressing down into the floor and lifting the leg just a tiny bit. This position is uncomfortable. Stay here until you feel those muscles relax and you can allow your pressure to lay on the lacrosse ball. The upper part of the leg is made up of 4 different muscles known as the quadricep. The quadricep is made up of the rectus femoris, being the most superficial muscle. The vastus medialis runs on the inside, the vastus lateralis runs on the outside, and the vastus intermedius runs deep directly under the rectus femoris. The 3 deepest muscles connect on the femur and just above the knee, whereas the rectus femoris passes from the ilium all the way over the kneecap into the tibia, passing 2 joints. Using a foam roller, work the front of the quad and into the side of the TFL band with the toe and knee against the wall. Start rolling the foam roller down the quad with your hands. If you feel a tender or tight spot, hold in that position and quickly press the roller back and forth over the tight spot. Gradually work your way down the entire front of the leg toward the knee. Continue to change positions, working through the front of the quad. When you feel a tender spot, maintain pressure and quickly jostle the massage stick up and down. Then transition to the side of the leg. With the foot against the wall, press the roller in the same manner, pushing it down the side of the leg. Try to relax the leg while the foam roller works into the muscle tissue. I find this to be the best release for my IT bands. Another way to work the quadriceps and the IT band is using the massage stick. Allowing the leg to relax, start with firm pressure just above the kneecap, dragging the pressure all the way up towards the hip. Change the position slightly and continue to pull up the quad. When you feel a tender spot that feels like a knot, you're going to apply pressure and shake it back and forth. Notice the rollers are not actually moving. The pressure just stays in one spot. When you finish about 30 pulses, continue the pull up the leg. If you find there's too much tension in the quad, straighten the knee and allow the leg to fully relax. This can help you get deeper into the tissue. Again, each time you find a tender spot, continue to relax into it. Create quick movements through the tender spots and finish with a pull up towards the hip. A more intense way to work the quads is laying in a plank position using a foam roller. In this position, you can roll up and down the quads looking for the most tender part. Once you find a tender part, bend the knees and then relax down slowly. Then flex into the foam roller by straightening your knees tight. After you complete 7 to 10 repetitions there, draw circles with the feet. both clockwise and counterclockwise. Relax and breathe, adjusting as necessary, making sure you relax the quad. The final and most intense work we're going to do is with the lacrosse ball. Laying on your stomach, use a book under the lacrosse ball. Place the lacrosse ball directly on the quadricep. You may have to move the ball around to find a few different spots that are tender. When you find the most tender ones, bend the knee, allowing the muscle to stretch, and then straighten the knee, contracting the muscle over top of the lacrosse ball. Continue this for 7 to 10 repetitions. When you find a spot that needs extra attention, get yourself a little more comfortable, allowing your head to rest. Change positions by rotating the leg in or out based on the type of work that you need. To work more medially, simply roll your body over, exposing more of the inside of the leg.
All right, great work. We are going to now, for round 2, try to get the heart rate increase a little bit, so focus on light resistance and high repetitions. All right, for round 3, we are looking to increase strength. So that means heavy resistance, lower repetitions. So you might only get 5-6 repetitions because the resistance is so heavy. It should be a slow, strong pull through this next round. Remember, if you have any questions, ask in the comments, and I will be able to let you know. All right, so round 4, we are looking to try to get as much cardio as we can out of this. So we go with a moderate resistance, but make sure you perform a high amount of repetitions against that moderate resistance. Again, if you have not yet, please do subscribe for our YouTube followers. And if you have any questions, please ask. Hey, very, very good work, everyone. So appreciate you being here. Remember, if you have not, please do hit the little red subscribe button right down below. We are providing all of these workouts completely free of charge, so that way you can get better, because our mission at Better Body Movement is to create a pain-free world. And the best way to do that is to put information out for others to glean from and begin to change the way that they live. Remember, if you move well, you live well. I hope you have a fantastic day.